So life during quarantine is a challenge for all of us. And one of the challenges apparently that has come from people having to do Zoom calls or interviews from their home is that, well, what does my home look like? And I was surprised to find out that there are a fair number of men who are not comfortable with what their home looks like to the point that they will actually use a fake Zoom background, which, by the way, I've seen those and they make your head look funny, not like a human, more like a cone head. I'm just saying. But the other thing that it does is it shows that um, sometimes people do not think about what their home looks like. And for those who have been working long hours in offices and all of a sudden they're at home all the time, they may never have thought about, wait a minute, what does my home look like? Well, this is one of the principles of Feng Shui, which is also known as the Chinese art of placement, or literally the wind-water way. Part of that philosophy is to make your home as pleasing to the eye as possible, because that uplifts your chi, which is sometimes translated as vital energy, which is an okay translation, but it makes your home more alive. You live in it, and now a lot of you are working in it. I've been working in my home for years. And that happens to work for me. For those of you who aren't used to doing that, guess what? You still live in your home. So whatever place you're going to use to do your videos or your Zoom calls, make it a place that you're comfortable using as a workspace, but also make it not only beautiful to you, it's not so much what anybody else thinks is beautiful, it's what you think is beautiful, what you think is pleasing, what uplifts your spirit, and put that in your room. All right, yes, all right. I'm an acupuncturist. I've studied Chinese medicine. I've studied martial arts. Feng Shui does not require that you have Oriental art on your wall. Everything that's on this wall is here for a reason. The boken up there in the corner, I studied Iaido for 5 years. The ink brush painting up there is one that I did in the early 80s. The Japanese woodblock prints, 2 of them are from the series done by Hokusai of Mount Fuji. Those were all given to me by my late great uncle. He acquired them when he was in occupied Japan as a civilian after World War II. The cat calendar, I am a cat slave. So kudos to people like Lisa Desjardins, who will let her cat be visible when she is doing an interview on PBS NewsHour. I want to meet her cat. I listen to her, I watch her cat. Her cat is rocking, just total. But all of these things have significance, so they're not random. They're not things that I got to impress other people. They're not things that I got because they're fashionable or because they were expensive. All of them were things that were either given to me or I made or something that I used. So that gives them extra vitality, and they're part of my home. This is the wall that I look at when I am consulting with my clients. I am sitting on the sofa that they sit on right now. They have a whole other range of artwork that is over the sofa that I sit on when I'm consulting with them. So the point is, you live in this space. Most of the time you are spending at home, especially now. The space you're in needs to reflect who you are, needs to speak to your heart and soul, needs to represent your history, needs to be meaningful. not random. Um, if you have no idea how to put that together, my contact information will be on here. I am happy to work with you as a Feng Shui consultant to figure out what you can do to at least make part of your space more your own when we're in this Zoom world in the quarantine era. And do it with probably things you already have. You may not need to acquire anything new. It may just be thinking about how to use them differently. But I encourage you to make your space, because just as we did when we worked in offices, and I used to as well, we used to make our desk our space, and people learned something about us from what was on our desk. It's the same thing with Zoom. People learn something about you. This is like somebody can ask me, well, what's that samurai doing there? That's a tracing from one of my late great uncle's students when he taught at Kamehameha Boys School, which it was then, in Honolulu, Hawaii, which was a private school for Hawaiian-born boys. That was done by a high school student. So he gave that to me. I love it because it was done by a high school student, one of his students, and he was an educator for his whole adult life. So these things open a conversation. They also, when you see them during the day, give you energy if they mean things to you. So think about what your space is like rather than trying to make a false space on Zoom. Try to make your Zoom space as real as you can make it, because this is the contact that a lot of us are going to have with people. Take advantage of it and use it. And if you don't know how to do it, you can contact me. Maybe you know somebody who can give you some tips. Like I said, own your space, use your space, make it beautiful to you and meaningful to you. And that's going to give you more energy all day. And it's also going to make your Zoom calls more pleasant, and there's going to be more interaction than there might be if you're using a background behind you that has nothing to do with you at all. So it's a way to make a personal connection in a time where it's getting harder to do that. So think about Feng Shui, principle being making your space yours and making it beautiful and making it meaningful. And I hope you will all start thinking about how to do that. And if you need me, you'll know where to find me. Good luck with creating or recreating your space, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.